Now under the concept of runtime polymorphism, we have one more concept involved, such as upcasting. So let us now check out what is upcasting in Java. So inside the IntelliJ IDE, we explored what is method overriding in Java. So here within the run method of the doc class, let us remove super.run code. And now within the main method, suppose we define animal space animal1 equal to new animal object. So when this statement will be executed, let us assume it will create the object A within the heap memory. Now on the left hand side, I have the animal1 reference variable. Now this reference variable will be created within the stack memory. So let us represent animal1 pointing towards the object A. So the animal1, which is our reference variable, will now point to the object A present within the heap memory, right? Like this. So when we call animal1 dot run method, then it will simply trigger the run method present within the animal object that is here, right? So it will print animal is running in the output console. So this statement will print animal is running. Let us now check our code. And yes, we are getting animal is running. So no doubt till now. Now let us come to the point. After this, suppose I create a new dog object, right? So this will create, let us assume object D inside the heap memory. Let us assume this. Now on the left hand side, before the equal to sign, suppose I assign it to the reference variable of animal. Let's call it animal2. Now when we have the parent class on the left hand side as a reference variable and on the right hand side suppose we have the child class of dog, then the compiler never complains because it is allowed in Java. So here the animal2, which is the reference variable present in the stack memory, will now point to the object D. Now this D is the object of dog. So here comes the twist. Suppose if I call in the next step animal2 dot run method, then what do you think? Which run method will be called? Either this run method or this run method will be called. So let us now run the code and let's see what happens. But this time we get dog is running. So even if we are using animal reference variable here, that is animal.run, then also we get dog is running. Now what is the reason behind this? The reason behind this is that here we have the dog object. So we have created the instance of this class of dog. And within the object of this dog, we have this method present, public void run. So since the animal2 is actually pointing to the dog object, so when we call animal2.run, then what happens is that it will simply call the method of the dog object, right? So it doesn't matter what we have on the left hand side. Whatever we have on the right hand side will provide the functionality to the object. So when we call animal2.run, so it simply triggers the method of the dog object, that is dog is running. So this concept of having the superclass on the left hand side and the child object on the right hand side is actually the concept of upcasting in Java. Now let us try something different. Let us create the new animal object and try to assign it to the dog reference variable. Now this time the compiler starts to complain that on the right hand side we have the parent class and on the left hand side we have the child class. So a child class can never point to the parent class object. Always remember this. This is the rule in Java, right? So a child reference variable can never point to the parent class object. So in Java this is actually not allowed. But let me tell you one thing, there is one remedy for this. You can simply downcast it to, let's say, dog object, right? Like this. So when we do this, we actually lose some data. So this concept is actually known as the downcasting. Now currently I am not going to discuss about the concept of downcasting. But for now, just remember that we cannot make a child class reference variable point to the parent class object. It is not allowed in Java. Now let us visually check out the concept of upcasting that comes under the runtime polymorphism. So suppose I create animal1 equal to new animal. So this simply creates the A object within the heap memory, right? So here I have the animal object and then we have the method of run that simply print out animal running. So this statement simply creates the animal1 reference variable that points to this object. Now in the very next step, if I call animal1.run, then it will simply print animal running. But let us try something different. Let us involve the concept of upcasting. So here, suppose I create the new dog object and assign it to the animal reference variable. So what happens is that within the heap memory, we create the dog object that contains the method of dog running. But we actually create the reference variable of the type of animal pointing to the dog object. So when we call animal2.run, what happens is that this animal2, since it is pointing to the dog object, then it will simply trigger the run method of the dog object that will simply print out dog running like this here. Now at the end, suppose we have dog space dog equal to new animal. Now on the right hand side, I have the parent class object, and on the left hand side, we have the child class object. So in Java, it is actually invalid. To make it valid, we need to apply the concept of downcasting, which I am not discussing it right now. So these are few of the rules of the runtime polymorphism. The reference variable can point to the own class object that we can see here at the top. And then the reference variable can point to the child class object, which is known as upcasting in Java, and the example we have here. And at the bottom we have the reference variable cannot point to the parent class object, which again we have the example here. So this was all about the concept of upcasting in Java that comes under runtime polymorphism.